Hey, how are you? Welcome back to me in my living room. This video is gonna probably span over a good amount of time, I think. This is gonna be like the biggest sewing project that I've undertaken so far. I've had like an interest in sewing for many years, but really never gotten very good at it. I think I actually did a sewing video on this channel a year or so ago now where I was trying to make a shirt and I like totally botched it. So my experience with making like actual wearable pieces dates back to like maybe 8 months ago. And I like ever since getting into sewing or having an interest in sewing, I've always like loved watching creators who make these beautiful dresses. And I told myself like since I've started sewing that like that's where I want to end up. Like I want to be making myself these super fun, playful pieces. And this is going to be kind of my first experience trying to do something like that. We have a wedding that we are attending in a few weeks, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to try to make myself a dress. When it comes to me wanting to wear something that's like more feminine, like I need it to be very fun and whimsical, and like it's hard to find stuff like that that's not also very expensive. So I decided to make it myself, and this is going to be like a huge learning process, definitely a lot of trial and error and trying to figure things out as I go. I'm checking in today because I just went shopping for some fabric. Last week, Trevor and I went shopping in the fashion district, which I should have shared a video about recently. We had gone to the fabric district to get some more specialty stuff. We do have a fabric store that's more nearby our neighborhood, but the selection is just more limited. So I wanted to just have fun and see all the options that were out there. But today, to round out the fabric that I have for this project, I went to the one that's closer to us. So for now, let me just show you what I picked out and everything that I have for the project. So yeah, when I went shopping for this fabric that I just bought, I did not have any samples of the others with me, so I didn't really get to see how they would all match up, but I feel pretty okay with this, but I'm kind of hoping they'll all go well together. Some of these layers are definitely gonna have to be like further underneath and not like the top thing showing. Because as it is, I was planning to have this as like the very base layer kind of going around, because I have so much of this one that I was just gonna kind of like really gather it and have it be the thing that's underneath. It's also the most like opaque level, so I think it will be good to have like as the base layer of the dress. This one I honestly don't know what I'm doing with it. I just wanted to get like a mesh fabric. It doesn't really look that good gathered because it's like has a sparkle to it, and I think if you gather it too much it looks too costumey. Like I'm gonna have to figure out like what order I'm layering all of these in, but if we put it like over this one, which is how it would be, and then with, I don't know, what do we think, like, oh, that is so pretty. Yeah, I kind of feel like the tulle needs to be on top almost, like, I don't know. This over this is really nice, but it's almost giving like the dress from like the Cinderella movie, which is like too much. Like we don't want to be being Cinderella at the ball. But these are nice. I think that the colors all go together to a certain extent, so I'll just kind of probably see how much I have of everything and play around with different like ways of mixing the fabrics together. But these are so cute. I think it's gonna turn out well. I feel confident about the skirt. We're gonna see how the top goes. But that's everything that I bought today for the project. So I will be getting into that on Sunday, and I can't wait. So that's that. I think that's everything. And I'll see you on my birthday to sew. Okay, bye. Birthday morning. So still have not entirely decided on the pattern that we're going for with like the design of the skirt mostly. I feel like I have a pretty good sense of what I want to do with the top part of the dress. Just gonna try to do like a really simple, beginner friendly bodice piece and add some sleeves onto the shoulders. I have this dress that I forgot about. I bought this to go to the ballet probably like a year and a half ago. And if I remember correctly, this fit me really well. And it has like pretty visible seams along it. So this might end up being a really good reference for at least the top part of the dress. So I think the very first step that we're going to be working on today is seeing if this fits me well. Then if it does, I'm going to make a kind of copied pattern based off of the pieces on the top half. Then probably try to put together a version with a practice fabric, since this is something that neither of us has done before. And then if it turns out well, go ahead and start working on it with the actual fabric that I bought for this dress. So that's what's first. Check it. What do you think?
Aww, yeah, I think you saw.
Okay. So I think this would be a pretty good reference to work off of. I think there's only like 4 pieces or 5 to the top of this, so I think it shouldn't be too difficult to replicate. Maybe I'm gonna regret saying that later. This is what I have for the pieces that I cut based off the dress. One of this folded in half for the center piece of the back, same with the front, and then I have 2 of the side pieces here. Yeah, I realized after I did this already it would have been a lot easier if I used like a wax paper that I could see through a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to cut some fabric, like some sample fabric to practice with, and see how it comes together, if it fits. I just went down one side and then clipped that side, and then I put down the next. I ended up doubling up on the amount of each of the fabric pieces that I cut from the pattern. So instead of doing 2 of each of the side pieces, there's 4 of each of these now, and then I'm gonna have 2 of the front and the back. That was a suggestion from Trevor to make the sewing part easier with some kind of like more invisible seams. So I have all the test pieces for that cut now. And just gonna see how it looks when they're all together. There you go. Good stuff. So beautiful.
This is actually back.
The back piece.
Wouldn't fit my back.
Well, it goes like that.
I'm just saying 'cause I'm so strong.
She's drooling. Bimo is very upset about all of the balloons, so we're giving her churro.
She's giving herself some churro.
She is giving herself. Hold on. Let me get some more for you. Hold on. Okay, there you go. Looks so nice. Very cute. Bodice reveal, kind of. I feel like it fits well though, all things considered.
Yeah, you should look at the video. The back looks like perfect.
Okay. Hey, again. It is a week later. It's Saturday again. We ended up having to wrap up a little bit early on Sunday. Didn't get quite as much done as I wanted to because I ended up feeling very ill. I've been sick like all week and just started feeling better like yesterday. On Sunday we pretty much just worked on this mock-up bodice piece, which was a lot of work. I had to make the pattern for it myself, and so it was just a little bit of trying to like make that pattern, make sure it was all going to fit together well. Yesterday I got back into the sewing a little bit in the evening, and I was working on the circle skirt, which I have also never made before. I made this little template for a circle skirt, so this is a quarter of the skirt, and then I'm cutting like 2 different sheets out of a large piece of fabric, and then that's going to come together. I wanted to go for the circle skirt instead of the tiered skirt that I'm used to doing for this project, just so that it like wouldn't have that amount of like scrunched up clunkiness, bunchiness at the waistline. But it uses like a lot more fabric than I was expecting it to. Cutting like just the full circle skirt to like an almost floor length, it used pretty much the whole 5 yards. So this morning we ended up having to go back to the fabric store and get some more things for the project. And in doing that, I've kind of finalized my vision for what we're really making and ended up changing direction a little bit. Since I used up all of the light purple fabric for the interior circle skirt, I realized I wasn't going to be able to use it for the bodice, which was originally my plan. And so I had to get a different fabric for the bodice. That was like the main priority in going to the shop. I ended up getting this stretch velvet in this like muted pink color, and it's just very different than everything else that I had bought and like been thinking of doing for the project pretty much, but I just feel like it's like perfect. I love how I look in a nice velvet. I love pink. So I think we're gonna make the bodice out of this, see what we have left over. One of the references that I really liked though has this tiered look where each of the tiers of the skirt has like a little strip of velvet accenting it, and so I think I want to try to use this for that as well. So I'm kind of picturing now like this velvet top and then a few different layers of volume for the skirt, and then on the very top layer of the skirt having that velvet like lining, and I think it's going to be very cute. I got 2 yards of this, and I haven't decided yet if I'm also going to make the sleeves with the velvet or if I'm going to still try to do that with an organza fabric, but we'll figure that out as we go. I got this organza to go with the purple that I already have because I only bought 2 yards of this, and after making the circle skirt I realized I had not been planning to have as much fabric as I should. So now we're gonna have this for a little bit of the dress, this for the top layer. This is the circle skirt that I already cut. And so the color scheme is definitely looking a little different. I think I'm probably not gonna use any of the blue that I bought actually for this project, but that's okay. I'm sure I'll get to use it for something in the future. Like, I'm really hoping that this becomes something that I get to do more often. And then I got some pink tulle in case I need some tulle for the lining. This is just dreamy. So yes, now the dress is looking a little bit more like muted purple and pink. But I think that's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be great. And I have like an actual finalized idea of what I want it to look like instead of like the vague thing that I was working off of before. But yeah, I'm gonna get into cutting the pieces for the bodice and see what we can accomplish today. Yep. Whoa, top finished. All right. Open now. Nice.
What's left?
Another weekend, another sewing day today. We are about a little less than a week away from when we're leaving for the wedding, so feeling in a little bit of a rush to get everything done. A lot of what we've been working on for the last couple times we've been sewing is like just trying to kind of figure out the design and the process and some trial and error on the bodice especially. But today is like more tangible, visible progress. So we've been working on the skirt today. And here is like the little swishy part at the bottom that we have done. I'm calling this the petticoat right now because it's really just there to add a bunch of fluff to it. Yeah, about to go back over this with the organza to make sure that it looks totally purple. I ended up mixing the blue and the pink tulle to try to get like a closer to like a lilac color, and it's pretty close, but I just wanted to put a bit like of organza over it on the petticoat so that way if it does show through, it's not like cotton candy pink and purple. But for the petticoat, after we add this layer of ruffles, that'll be that. And then time to start working on the overskirts. But for now, just sewing this and hoping for the best. Now I just need to cut.
Is this
Hey, so we are cutting it very close at this point. Trevor and I are literally flying out tomorrow for the wedding, so not a lot of time left. I will say it's been a few days and the dress is mostly finished. I stopped recording for the most part because we've been mostly sewing at night this week trying to get everything done. It's going really well. Like, we are doing a really good job and I'm really liking how it's coming together. I also got my nails done to match the dress, which I'm super excited about. The biggest kind of hurdle and the only reason that we're not done working on the dress yet is because I ended up feeling like I can't really wear the petticoat that we made to go underneath it, which is so sad. It turned out really nicely. I'll actually get it out and show it to you. This is the petticoat that we made, and it is so, it's just perfect. But I just got a little insecure. I put it on under the dress, and altogether the full effect is like, I think a little bit extravagant. I'm definitely going to feel like super excited to wear this out on my own time, like when we go to a museum or the ballet or something. But for now, I really just need to make something else to wear underneath this so that I can wear it to the wedding. And that was just an obstacle that I wasn't anticipating, so hence why I'm pushing it so close to the deadline at this point. I have so many things that I need to get done before we leave for this trip, so if I forget to film, that's why. I just didn't have the time or the brain width. But I believe in us. I believe we're gonna get it done, and it's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna feel cute. That's gonna be my mantra for the weekend. It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna feel cute. Hopefully next time you see me, I'll have a whole dress to wear. Bye! Wish me luck. Hi, I I'm back from travel. We've been back home for a few days, but I had some other work stuff that I had to catch up on. But I'm here now, I'm back, and I'm very excited to do my little show and tell and talk about the dress that we made. So, I feel like there's a lot to talk about. I've been filming this video for like a month now, around a month. And I really started off this project so blindly. There's been so much that I've been learning and a lot of like changing my mind, changing directions on this project as we were going through it. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, sewing these kinds of projects has kind of been like my end goal dream since I started thinking about sewing and learning to sew, and I think this has been a really good introduction into that kind of creating for me. I'm definitely looking forward to making more projects like this in the future and taking what I've learned from this and being able to apply it to bigger and better things. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you the dress, I guess, and kind of like explain everything that went into making it and the decisions that we made, reflections, things I learned, things I like, things I didn't. So first things first, I'm going to show you the petticoat that we made. This was the first part of the dress that we constructed. I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's honestly not the most pretty in construction, but I feel like when it has this many layers, it's hard to go wrong, like especially from a distance or when I'm wearing it under something. It just has this, like the flow is everything, and I feel like the shape that it gives and this kind of swishiness that it has is just, I'm really happy with it. Originally, of course, the plan was to have this be sewn into the dress as the bottom layer. So since I decided to make this its own separate piece, I ended up just sewing elastic into the waistband. Now this is a piece that I can wear all on its own, and I think that that's probably for the best because now, for one, I have options for this dress of how big that I want it to be, so I can wear it in the more casual, like slim fitting way, or I can put this big skirt under it and make it big and flouncy and crazy. And then also because I'm planning to make different projects kind of similar to this in the future, I might even be able to end up reusing this petticoat for other things. There's kind of a lot to talk about, I guess, as far as the dress itself goes. And as far as first projects go, I am really proud of it, and I did get a lot of compliments on it too, so that was nice. I know that I ended up skipping over a bit of the sewing for the dress. It's just because we were cutting it really close on time. We ended up not really finishing everything for the dress until the night before we were leaving. It just ended up being easier to just plow through it and be like, I'll just show you and talk about it later. But this is what we made. The most time-consuming and complicated part of making this dress was creating the pattern for the bodice. This was my second time ever trying to create my own pattern where I was basing it off of another piece that I already owned. And I feel like I've gotten better at it since then, and honestly I feel like I did a really good job with this one as well, especially for it being a beginner project. It was very difficult to copy the pattern for this just because I was using just regular printer paper. For other projects that I've done since this, I've been using wax parchment paper, which is much better because you can just place it over the top of the garment and then just trace with your little marker. So much easier to see everything, a lot more straightforward, and also they come in longer, wider sheets, so I didn't have to like tape a bunch of papers together. But for this one, I'm really proud of it. It fits me pretty perfectly. I will say one thing that I learned, the mock-up that we made was with a much less stretchy fabric, and so when we were making it with this stretch velvet, it was a little bit of a challenge because the pieces all kind of like ended up being harder to sew together. So there ended up being kind of a few places on the dress where you can see a little bit of bunching, and especially when I'm wearing it on the neckline, sometimes it folds over on itself a little bit. But you can rearrange it in a way where you can't really tell. But that was definitely one thing that was like a challenge as we were going through it. Just the sewing of this kind of fabric specifically was not easy. The tiered skirt I think came together pretty much perfectly. Trevor and I have made quite a few tiered skirt projects together where it's just the different size panels and then bringing them together to all be the same size is what creates that ruffle effect. So I felt pretty confident going into this project that we were going to be able to do that well, and it did come together pretty much exactly as I was picturing. A lot of the reference pictures that I had saved had that kind of velvet strip connecting the different tiers, just for a little bit of fun flair, and I do really like how that looks as well. So I have all these little velvet strips connecting the pieces. It just brings like a bit of the pink color from the top down into the skirt, and I think that that's nice. I guess a lot of the things that I'm saying I wish I would have done differently have to do with the materials. This organza is really pretty, but it wrinkles very easily. So next time I'm making something like this, I'll probably put something a little bit less stiff as the top layer. I'll show you also the fabric that I ended up buying and using to use as the alternative to the petticoat that I ended up deciding not to use. Of course, the top organza layer is entirely sheer, so there needed to be something sewn in to the lining, and I just ended up using this really cheap, I don't even remember what this fabric is called, but it's pink, so when it's layered with the purple, it kind of like matches the top a lot more than it did on its own, which I think is nice. I also didn't film when I was making the sleeves, but it was a super simple process. I made them in pretty much the same way that I made the circle skirt, where I was just taking the length that I wanted the sleeve to be, and then like cutting a circle that had that as its radius, and then just cutting out another interior circle that was the right measurement for my arm. And because I wanted the top of the sleeve to be longer than the part in my armpit, I just cut the circle like off center instead of in the middle. But that's pretty much how everything came together. I know this obviously isn't like a tutorial of how to make a dress, but I hope that following our process as we were kind of learning and figuring things out as we went was helpful in like kind of visualizing everything that went into it. I definitely learned a lot, and you will absolutely be seeing more dressmaking content from me in the future. Even just like the researching process for trying to figure out how to like pull this project together, I got so many different ideas. I feel like that's why I kept changing my mind throughout the process so many times of like what I wanted to do, was just because there were so many different fun things that I kept seeing, and obviously we can't do all of them. So there's just like a million different things that I feel like I really need to try now. I've been really having a lot of fun with sewing lately. Like this has just been my big passion lately, and I've been spending a lot of my days working on this lately, so I have definitely a lot to share. Like I've been working on a lot more projects than I even show on here. Even this little like smock apron dress that I made this one recently. Well, this was a collaborative project. Trevor and I worked on this one together. Thank you for watching the whole thing. I always really appreciate when people are interested in the things that I'm making. If you want to keep up with projects that I'm going to be working on in the future, I share a lot of it on my Pinterest, on my Tumblr. If you want to connect with me on any of those things, they're always down below. Leave a comment, leave a like, let me know that you're around. It means the world to me, and I will see you